So you wish to play the wrestler. I suppose then you're quite the meddler. I welcome you to my guide. Please do come inside. I am an Ian, and for the last time, I am not a European.
No more rhymes now, I mean it!
Anybody want a peanut?
Ah!
The wrestler is unlocked via completing the slums using only your fists. I recommend the doctor, werewolf, or gorilla if you wish to go about completing this endeavor. As for his description, it reads: manhandling, smashing, and beating, all in a day's work for the simple-minded but strong of heart wrestler. But in truth, this behavior stems from the wrestler's severe frustration with the world. Why has the mayor banned playful roughhousing? Why do so many businesses frown upon shirtlessness? Why do books have all those stupid words in them? Ugh! Thankfully, however, none of these will be issues for you. What with your melee and endurance stats maxed out at 4, and your other stats set to an abysmal 1, you are more than well equipped to settle all disputes via fisticuffs rather than talking with words. And your starting gear complements your intended playstyle perfectly. It is a codpiece and a muscle pill. As for your special ability, it is called Toss. You pick up any object that isn't nailed to the ground and throw it at people at your leisure. You cannot pick up corpses, however. I don't understand why either. You can, however, get an achievement if you kill someone with a gravestone using this ability. Some objects will even trigger special effects if you hit your mark correctly, like refrigerators freezing people similar to a freeze ray, or trash cans inflicting poison on individuals. And all objects that land their mark on an NPC have a chance of inflicting the dizzy status effect on them. However, this is random and unreliable. I encourage you to flex your creative muscles when you use this ability, especially in the industrial areas where barrels of free ammo can pretty much be found everywhere to solve most problems you'll come across as you go about your missions. Also, a fun bit of advice: if you get the backstabber trait and use it on a frozen individual, you'll effectively be able to kill most NPCs in one clean hit. No melee weapon needed whatsoever. And remember, throwing a refrigerator at someone's face is equally effective as shooting them with a freeze ray. I don't advise stealth, however. This is because of your loud trait, making it so that any noise you make, such as hitting a wall or another NPC in combat, is certain to attract the attention of pretty much everyone, really. If you make noise, everyone will hear you. On the plus side, you're tank-like, so knockback won't be an issue whatsoever for you, at least. Sadly, however, you are also computer illiterate, so if you need to use a computer, you're gonna have to smash it to just force it to do whatever the heck you wanted it to, preferably by tossing it at your enemies. Thankfully, however, that useless hacking tool you picked up from the trash can was never needed to complete your big quest. Speaking of,
We face each other as God intended. Sportsmanlike. No tricks, no weapons. Skill against skill alone.
You mean you'll put down your rock and I'll put down my sword and we'll try and kill each other like civilized people?
Can kill you now.
your big quest is called Undefeated Champ. It's quite simple, really. Just walk up to the NPC class specified in the map menu and then challenge them to a 1v1 duel to the death. Then kill said NPC using only melee weapons. Don't worry, the NPC won't use any ranged weapons either. Just be mindful of stage hazards like trains and generators stealing your kills. And whilst guns are out of the question for this big quest, drugs are perfectly on the table, so be sure to use that muscle pill in your starting inventory as well as any other beneficial drugs you find along the way. Not only is this quest going to be a constant drain on your health and resources, but the fights you challenge NPCs to can very easily escalate into full-blown brawls as you accidentally hit nearby NPCs as you fight them. Therefore, once the fighting starts, I advise that you lure the NPC in question you challenged somewhere more remote, where you don't have any risk of accidentally hitting stuff you don't want to hit. After all, the last thing you want to have happen is to challenge a single cop to a 1v1 duel only to end up fighting the entire police station. Combine this with the fact that hunting down the specified NPC can sometimes be quite a hassle, especially when there's only one instance of that NPC, and that NPC happens to be in the bathhouse, meaning that mobster you are hunting down can only be distinguished from the other naked men by their hat. Not to mention, the NPC in question you challenge will get a full heal once the fight starts, and should you try to attack them before they say the fight has started, you'll fail automatically and have to hunt down another NPC of the specified type. And you only really have two redeeming qualities for this quest. Firstly, the NPCU challenge in question is strictly restricted to melee combat and will not use a gun even if they were holding one when you challenged them. And 2, no one will interfere with your 1v1 duel to the death as long as you and the NPC you challenge don't accidentally hit anyone else. All of this culminates into the wrestler's big quest being one of the most difficult in the entire game, second only to the investment banker. As a result, I give the wrestler a discount gorilla out of 10. This character is clearly geared towards only one thing and one thing only, however that thing is better filled by other characters like the gorilla or werewolf. And thus I only advise playing him if you love his special ability but for some reason have a vehement hatred of custom characters. Unless of course you're trying to 100% this game, but regardless, that will be all for now. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you don't want to miss the next one. I've been Ian, and this has been my Streets of Rogue character guide to The Wrestler, and stay tuned, the Jock is coming up next.